Hey people, welcome to another 90 Day Fiance recap. Chad here on CBiz Media, where we talk faith, love, and trends. We recap a lot of different love based reality shows and sometimes some trending topics as well. So let's get into this episode for 90 Day Fiance, which is a reality show that follows couples. One person's from the US, the other from another country. We get to see their ups and downs in their relationships, as well as dealing with long distances, language barriers, cultural boundaries, and trying to get that 90-day K1 visa in time enough to walk down the aisle. All those legal ramifications is 90 Day Fiance. And now we're going to start out with Stevie and Maddie. And again, this is your girl. This is your sis Irene. All right. First, Stevie looks like he's being attacked by the cat. The cat's doing something to his foot. He looks like he's kind of kicking at the cat. It's a great way to start your day. Stevie ordered her dressed, and she's gonna show him, which is kind of against tradition. But she's like, "Hey, I'm not traditional, so let's do this." I think that's what Maddie's a little bit scared of how untraditional you may really be. But anyway, she's like, forget our arguments before, as far as him trying to figure out if she's buying her, not being directly responsive to that, and being very guarded and what's the word? On the defense about it. They're gonna forget their arguments. They love each other, and this is the first time Stevie says she's truly been in love. So she comes out in the dress, and Maddie's like, you know what? Don't like the dress. You look old. It's the flower print. He said then, they showed them talking to the producers on a separate clip. And he's like, well, you look older just by a couple years. And in his country, if you wear flowers, you're considered an older woman. And Stevie's like, bad wording, though. I understand what you're saying, but bad wording. So I thought that was pretty bold, Maddie. I mean, a man will at least say, wow, you look beautiful. But, there was no but. He was just like, don't like it. His face showed it right away. He was just totally upfront saying she looks old. I don't fully disagree with him. It wasn't the flowers. It was the fit of the dress, really. It looks like she needed to get tailored and tightened up to me. I guess it could have been a better cut dress, but I feel like if it was just a little bit more fitted to her body type, I felt like it would have been okay. But he was like, it's bad. He's definitely not an American man, because he's just straight up says what he says. And I don't know if he cares about the consequences. So they're packing to go to their joint bachelorette party. And she's like, oh no, I'm missing my squishies. He's like, squishies, you can just squish me. Don't worry about that. Yeah, you might not be too sure if you really want her to squish you, depending on what that means anyway. They're going to have this bachelor and bachelorette party. And they say it's going to be wild. At least Stevie says it is. They're in the car. They're headed out. He's eating candy. He acts like he's going to give her the candy, but he doesn't give her the candy. Just having a little playful time. And on their way, I believe, they're going to New Orleans. I believe they just drove up there. And he's like, we're going to Sin City, ready to commit some sins. Maybe he is. They get to the hotel. It's an eclectic, historical looking hotel room. When he sees the bed, he's like, yeah, this is the spot. The bed was huge. I'm like, is this, what's on your mind, Maddie? Is the bedroom the most important part to you? They did have some like weird, creepy hangings of like actual bats and actual giant tarantulas like hanging up there. I guess it was like dried up and they have it hung in like a frame. It's kind of creepy, but this is New Orleans, guys. I thought it looked very, to me, like historical, and they had books and everything, like a little library area. The whole front room kind of looked like a library. It was a nice looking place. It definitely gave me like some atmosphere of old New Orleans, if that's the thing. So for Maddie, he's nervous for the party. The burlesque show is going to happen. And he's like, well, burlesque show, what is that? He's uncomfortable if he should do this or not, because he doesn't want to see some signs of Stevie being bi, because he's still wondering if she is. That's just not going to be let go no matter what she says. So his friend Saeed is on his way, and he meets him down in the lobby of the hotel. And Saeed's so happy to see him, he keeps hugging him, which I thought was kind of weird, but okay. Anyway, he really loves him some Maddie. He's been in the US for 10 years, and right out the gate almost, Maddie's sharing his concerns about her being bi and her making pictures of women, and he's like, well, because she did one of her friend, and it was like she was right in front of her, so that was what creeped her out more, because at first he was like, if it's a girl, what's the big deal? It's a girl. And then he does let him know that he feels like she is attracted to the same sex. And he's like, oh yeah, in our culture, this is taboo for us in our cultural beliefs. And I think his friend says after marriage, that's what I'm more concerned about. What else about her that you won't be able to deal with? What other secrets will come out after you guys get married, which is the concern. And I think that's his concern as well. But he says he loves her so much, though. And Saeed says, well, but can love justify all of these feelings that you're having? And he's like, I'm worried about you. And look, here comes Stevie. Awkward. She's meeting him for the first time, smiling. Doesn't know that they've been like talking behind her back this whole time. So it's a bit awkward, but Saeed did well by jumping up and being excited. I think that's the thing that he just does well. But she didn't get as many hugs as Maddie did. Definitely she didn't. As far as New Orleans, Saeed has been there. He loves it there. He loves the drinks. So he likes to drink. Good to know. As they walk through, they're going to walk through the town, and I guess they stop at some bars in different places. And Maddie's excited about the drinks too. He's like, this reminds me of a drink from our country and stuff. He's like, oh yeah, but without the alcohol. And Maddie's like, oh, it's alcohol in this stuff? You guys are getting me drunk? Seriously, you had no idea what's alcohol in these things all this time, Maddie? You thought people were just drinking virgin drinks? That would be a wonderful world, especially for people like me that are of faith and don't drink. But this case, no, it's alcohol everywhere. So he kind of asked Stevie about the family and all of that, and their reaction to him. And she did say, that she did tell him last minute, but she wasn't hiding him and all that. She thought she had more time or whatever. She was trying to make it sound better than what it was. But Saeed was suspicious right off when she said that. He's like, is there some other hidden things that she has going on that she won't reveal till right before something big happens? Like, oh, let me reveal this right before such and such needs to take place or whatever. So, or if there's somebody else in the other room, like, oh, our honeymoon, we're spending it with someone else. Maddie, there's someone in that room. It's not just gonna be us two. Sorry I didn't tell you before. Anyway, the two of them get a little one-on-one, Saeed and Stevie, and this is when he kind of expresses some of his concerns. He's like, Maddie's making a bigger sacrifice. Seems like she's a bit selfish. And Stevie is not really liking his vibe and all this negativity. She said, he's grown and he can make his own choices. And Saeed kind of sneers at that comment. So Stevie's kind of nervous that he's going to kind of mess up their whole day for their party, plus possibly go into their marriage and maybe ruin that. Well, we're going to see what happens. So, Shekinah and Sarper have squashed their issues because Sarper pushed the reset button on her. They made up in the bedroom. This is how they handled their situation. And we get to see them now standing together looking at this beautiful view. I'm not sure where they're at. But, Shekinah lets us know it's been a rough few days. He ended up sneaking upstairs to do the thing in the middle of the night. And he's like, their chemistry is what's going to hold them together. And she says that's not going to fix everything. But it kind of worked temporarily, right, Shekinah? He's like, somebody said think more rationally after you're intimate. I don't know if thinking more rationally happens after you're intimate with someone. But okay, he's still letting her know he's been feeling trapped, anxious, depressed by this whole situation because he really can't work. He really can't be himself. He's pulled away from his whole lifestyle. It's obvious you're going to feel that way when you're going to another country, homesick, and all that. He said his mistake really was that he didn't express that to her and he just started acting up as a consequence to his feelings. So then he's saying, well, why don't you touch me? She started getting a little upset and they were discussing and he was like, touch me. If you don't touch me, you become a bleed word. Touch me. So he was saying, telling her to touch him, and it was giving me creeper vibes. I was looking at his face. I'm like, you're kind of giving me creeper right here. But that's your man, Shekinah. She says at the end of the day, he needs to improve, or their relationship vibe needs to improve, or they're not getting married. So she's got her new workplace set up. The sign guy comes in and installs a sign. I believe his name is David. And so she's moved her spot. And so her and Sarper can kind of have a normal lifestyle, their own sense of normalcy. So she got a real office suite. And she tells, I think his name is David or Daniel, one of them. Anyway, she lets him know that her man Sarper doesn't have to leave anymore because now that's why she has a new place. And he hung up the sign. The sign looks great. Daniel's just really friendly and smiling. And Sarper comes in and he shakes his hand like, hey man. Sarper looks at him suspect. You know, he's a little taller than Sarper. He is kind of attractive, I'll say. He's on the attractive side. But he says, Sarper's like, I'm kind of suspicious of this guy because he's a handyman, but he doesn't look like one. And then she tells about why she's wearing this wig because she has this blonde wig on. It's like, well, are you wearing that for the handyman? And she's like, no, I'm actually losing my hair because I lose my hair when I'm stressed. I think I have a similar problem. I'm not sure if I just lose my hair generally. I am a cancer survivor, so I don't know. I've had issues with losing my hair as well. And this is post-cancer for many years, but not to get too deep into that. But it just kind of made me think, okay, so other people lose their hair due to stress. And I think that I probably am one of those people, though I haven't officially been diagnosed in that area. I guess you don't have to be. Okay, enough about me. So Sarper's like, I hope he wears his belt so we won't see his crack because, he's thinking about handyman, plumber, putting those two together, saying, this guy doesn't look like the average, whatever. And he's like, well, you're talking to the handyman. We usually don't talk to the handyman about our lives. And she said something about, just because he's good looking, she's not going to hire somebody that doesn't work well. And he's like, good looking. I never said he was good looking, but you kind of did because you were intimidated by him, Sarper. Anyway, the new place, he says, is small but good, like a hole that's from your back area. Don't want to say the word. I don't know if that's considered good. I think that's a weird comment. And probably takes a tone that's probably more of a bedroom tone that he's going for, which is always what his mind is on anyway. But he's like, at this point, I feel useless. I do want to try some of that comedy out. And Shekinah's having some mixed feelings about that. So he preps for the comedy show. And I kind of like the little joke he told about the man. The man is made after God, but the woman is the next level model. I'm like, okay, well, I can agree with that. Well, anyway, he's gonna try the open mic sector, and we're gonna get to see him do it right now. So he meets with the friends, of course, Shekinah's friends. They all meet up at this comedy place, I guess. Plus, his nemesis, his arch nemesis, Dan, shows up. It's awkward. He kind of just wants to ignore Dan, but Shekinah says, don't just ignore the guy. So she does shake his hand, but then they just both look weird and blankly at each other after the fact. And he's like, what is Dan and why? And, that's my question as well. But she's like, Dan is a part of my friend group. You have to accept him like you accept all my other friends. So we get to see into this comedy club. It's open mic. To me, the jokes that I heard from the other people, they were kind of bad. And he was feeling more nervous after watching them. I'm sorry, to me, they were horrible. He's embarrassed. He doesn't want to be embarrassed, and he doesn't want to embarrass Shekinah. So he's hoping that that's not how things will turn out. So then he makes some jokes. The jokes basically are all about the manhood and how basically your manhood is kind of what you think with instead of your own brain. You're thinking with your manhood instead. He kind of keeps making jokes in that lane and kind of does a whole story about it. But he said something about, assuming all these men in here are attractive and virile or something like that. And he said, everybody except for you, Dan. Something like that. I may have messed up the punchline, but whatever the case, Dan is upset. Um, when he gets done, everybody says he did great. He did a little bit too much explaining, though. I feel like he should be a little bit more straight to the point, but I thought it was pretty decent, and it was better than the other people. I have to say that they showed parts of them. Like, it was better. I would go to a show if he had one. So Dan is mad about the joke that he put him on front. I'm like, LOL, and Dan is upset. I'm like, Dan, you're soft. Come on, you're showing you're soft. Like, if you're a real man, if you're a man's man, you'll laugh that joke off and act like it's nothing. This is what you need to do. You need to man up, Dan, and you need to not hang out with them anymore. And honestly, that's what Sarper wants. He wants to push this guy out of the friend group. So if he does leave, this is just, exactly what Sarper was ordering. Mark and Mina, it's his 59th birthday. She's making him breakfast. She's trying to write the word 59 with chocolate sauce, and it's not working, and it's smearing. She said it looked like 99. Then she put the whipped cream on it too. I'm sorry, that's like for your breakfast is a little bit too sweet for me. We got chocolate sauce and whipped cream on the pancake. A little too sweet for my taste, but it didn't come out well. But the assumption is that the food came out well. And he's like, hey, I like your pancakes. They more taste like crepes, but they taste good. And he says, I still feel like 39. He compares himself to the president, saying by the time his daughter, which I think is now 16 years from now, is going to be whatever age. And the president's like around the same age. She's like, if he can run the country, then I can keep my family going, or whatever the case. I wouldn't compare myself to the president, but that's just me. Anyway, Mark, he's giving me old zaddy swag. The way he talks with that chill little tone, like, oh, everything's all good. But he just does not have the conversation skills, and he says the wrong things. He doesn't have the finesse. He doesn't know how to finesse the words, but he's still giving me zaddy swag. Just the way his tone of voice, like, everything's cool, yeah. I kind of like that vibe about him. But Clayton is brought up in this conversation about him being there for the wedding. And this is one of the big issues. And they're driving on their way. I believe they're going to the city. It's a French bistro he wanted to try. But at the time, they're talking about Clayton. And he's saying that basically if you don't want to do the wedding without Clayton, then you're going to have to go back to France. And she basically feels like she's in a rock and a hard place because it's like Mark versus Clayton. Which one does she choose? She shouldn't have to choose between her kid and this guy, the father of her new kid. Anyway, he's like, well, you're going to have to restart the whole process. It's going to be kind of a lot for us. But he says, if you do go back, Maria can stay with me. She's a citizen with her passport. And she was like kind of flabbergasted. And I was too, like, oh, are you trying to take her kid? Was that the whole point anyway? She's like, the man doesn't keep the daughter. He's like, well, they can. It's not a problem. Man can keep the daughter. I'm like, is he trying to cause trouble here? Was this your plan all along to, have access to the baby and to keep the baby in the U.S.? And then I said to myself, why did they think the baby needed a passport, but they didn't think that her own son needed a passport? Because he's like, what, 8 or something? He's older than the baby. So they have a passport for the whole little baby that's barely 1, but they don't have the passport for the 8-year-old. They thought he could come on her passport. I don't know how they thought that. Anyway, it doesn't make any sense. So they're reaching Boston, And they got there. They're in a nice little room. I guess they got themselves a hotel. She's like, the city looks like Sex in the City with Carrie. She's talking about she misses that show. Okay, she likes TV. She likes American TV. That's fun. I also love TV. That's why one reason why I keep watching this show and talking about it. So they get to. I did notice they keep more of an eye on Maria. I'm seeing them with the car seat. I'm seeing somebody hold Maria. She's just not in the scene at all. And it makes sense. I'm happy that somebody's keeping a better eye on baby. The French bistro that they get to, they have a seat there and the menus are in French. She's feeling a good vibe about that. They're sitting outdoors and they're talking about Clayton coming, if he can come to the wedding, and the suit he's gonna have. He's like, if he can come. And every time he says if, it really gets Mina upset because she really wants her baby to be there, and it makes total sense. So then they start talking about the prenup, and she said she will sign, but you must adopt my son Clayton as your own son. And it's a tense moment there for a second, but then he was like, you know what? I was planning on this anyway. He's a great kid. We're on the same page. I've been wanting to do that anyway. So they celebrate, they clink glasses, and they kiss. He tears up a little bit saying, I'm sorry because I really wanted him to be here and I feel like I failed you. And they kind of have a heartfelt moment there. We see some more kissy kissies here. And Maria's making a big mess all over her face and smiling, and it's just like a really cute heartfelt moment. So this is happy. This is good. Hopefully they figure out how to get Clayton here with all of the resources that he has and all of that. I think that they should be able to figure something out. Hope all the best for them. They're on the same page, and that's a good thing. Now, Juan and Jessica. There's going to be another joint bachelor/bachelorette party. Juan and Jessica's. We'll see what's going to happen with these guys, but the baby David comes with her mom, and the other boys are left with their father. They rented a huge vacation spot. It looks pretty cool. Looks like a big lodge, like it's a big lodge area out in the country or somewhere. It looks pretty. It looks fancy. Where they're going in the city area, there's going to be it's like an old western town. It has saloons and casinos and all of that. And they're going to go see Mount Rushmore. And she talks about, Mount Rushmore might be something if you want to take the test to be a naturalized citizen, because there's a lot of things on there that even Americans don't know, but you may have to do some studying for that, and this might help you out a little bit. So when we get to the lodge, I kind of already told you guys it looked amazing, and Herb and Meg are already there. Isn't that nice? So they're going to get ready for this bachelor party, and Juan says, I'm going to be no trouble at all. I'm going to be a good boy because I'm a good boy now. Sure, Juan. Juan's cousin is coming, Leonardo. He hasn't seen him in 23 years. So there's tears between them when he shows up. They call him Primo, which means cousin. And he introduced the baby to his little baby. He introduced his cousin, to the little baby David, or David. So when they decide to all go to Mount Rushmore. He wants to go with his cousin so they can catch up, and he brings David as well. So he's riding with them, and he tells his cousin about the boat job. He still want to get back on that cruise ship. This is like his big issue. He says you really need to talk to your wife to be about this and make the best decision for both you guys, because you're going to be away for 8 months. And you guys are going to be back into a long distance relationship again. And I think that's one of your issues. So, just be upfront and try to work it out. And I think cousin has some really good advice. Now he's saying, I do want to tell her, but how do I tell her? I'm not ready. Don't know how to do it. So by the time they get to Mount Rushmore, it's foggy, it's cold out there, and they all have to wear like these little slickers, as far as raincoat slickers or whatever. They're all different colors, and she's telling her husband, hey, you look so cute, you look like a Teletubby. Isn't that nice? You can't see anything. Really, it's so foggy. And they're asking him, because this is his first time seeing it, I guess, up close. He's like, what do you think? He's like, of what? Like, basically, I can't see it. So that was kind of messed up and funny. And, you guys go all the way to Mount Rushmore just to not be able to see any of it. Megan is still being super excited. Anyway, she's like, let's go party now. Yay. Okay. Jessica gives Juan the go ahead to enjoy yourself. If they're strippers, go ahead and enjoy yourself with the strippers, but be good. And he's like, you're actually giving me permission to enjoy myself with strippers. Okay. When they return, it all pops off. They have like the little shooters with all of the confetti coming out. So when they get back, all of her friends are there and they're ready to do their little party. Megan gives them these creepy shirts with I think Jessica's face is all over his shirt, of course, to keep him safe from any trouble. So hey, everybody knows that this man is taken because his wife's to be face is all over his t-shirt. So she gets everybody, all the guys, a little shirt to put, I guess, their partner's faces on there. I don't know. Anyway, they're saying, as far as Jessica, she's like, I've been working and being a mom all this time. It's awesome for me just to chill out and have fun. So that's what I'm about to do. So they're going on a party bus. She's doing cartwheels. They're at the bar. All the girls come out. Oh, I'm getting into the wrong part. Anyway, so they're at the cartwheels. She's doing the cartwheels at the bar. And the girls are hanging out, just basically drinking, and everybody's trying to buy her a drink because she's about to get married. Now, something similar with the guys, they go to this bar. But actually, now this guy comes out and announces all these girls are coming out. And Juan is really loving it. He's like, I didn't know I was going to be at a strip joint, but it is what it is, and I'm loving it. I'm liking it. So they're all getting drunk and goofing around, the guys are, and the strippers are all over Juan. And I think it's like one stripper at the beginning, and Juan kind of gets roped in. He's talking about he wants to get on that boat. He's telling his friends about it while he's half drunk. Then, one of the strippers kind of ropes him in. He gets a face full. He gets a face full like more than once. There's one stripper, then another one comes out, and it was like a team up with two girl strippers this time. And I was like, for some reason, it was like seemed like a family-friendly stripper vibe going on. I don't know what this place was. It didn't look like your regular strip joint. It looked like a regular bar where random stripper girls come out, and the stripper girls look like they're nice, everyday, regular girls. And then they just suddenly take off their tops. And they did show one go right into Juan's face. Everything's blurred out. We don't see all the things. But yeah, it looks like a bachelor party to me that could be in the movies. His friend Herbie is super sloshed, and he has to kind of drag him back home. So when they return, Jessica's like, oh, he looks like a little boy home from church, like he didn't do anything wrong, and she just wants to love him. Like, did he even do anything bad? Did he get in trouble tonight? Well, does it matter? Do you care? You don't want to love him anyway, right? You seem like you gave him permission to do that. Would you give your man permission to do that? I don't know, especially if he had cheated in the past, which we know that he did. If you're telling to be good, you're going to have very specific parameters, and you should have him with a trustworthy person. And to me, honestly, his cousin seemed more trustworthy than Herbie, who is Megan's husband and his so-called friend. So, yeah, that's like would you give your man permission to do that? I think it depends on all the type of lifestyle you come from, type of things you do. He was getting high off of that party, and it kept reminding him of the boat and what he wanted to do. And Leonardo, his cousin's like, well, you only live once, so you really should do what's best for you. So they all go to bed. It's good night. But He says, I want to bring something up to you, Jessica. All the jobs over here is hard and tough, little sounding jobs and labor work, and I don't know if this is the thing I want to do. She said, well, you can try the bartending. He said, well, I really want the bold life back. And she's like, no, we're not doing the bold life. What about your family? And she says she doesn't want that life anymore. It's no time for him to be home with his son. If he's gone 8+ months out of the year, she only sees him a couple months out of the year. This is not what she wants her family to be about. So she kind of basically drops this ultimatum and says it's either the cruise or us. And Matt and Amani, they finally meet this guy Ray, who's supposed to be Ani's ex. Not what they expected. So I thought the guy didn't look as he appeared, I guess, when they saw him via, I'll say, if they saw him FaceTime or in pictures. But no, that's just not what they expected. They say he's small and tiny. So this guy just didn't seem like a guy that they would expect to be with Ani. He seems squirmy and weird like to me, like there is something he's hiding or there is something to hide. So Amani does the interrogation. I don't think Matt even asked any questions. Amani just basically took this whole thing over. Seems like that's her thing anyway. She's like, are you really an ex? And he's like, So every time we ask him a question, he's like he doesn't know the answer. So that's fishy to me right there. Like, why is he always searching for words? He does say, yes, actually we are broke up, but we're still friends. I helped her open up an account. And she's like, well, why would you do something that deep for somebody you broke up with? And he said he really cared for her. He actually said he did want to marry her. So their relationship was somewhat deep. He said he did sabotage it because he was scared and he met her kids. And, they realized that this guy met all her kids and they only met one daughter. So they feel like he's kind of got in deeper than they did as far as meeting the kids and now opening up this account, wanting to marry her. These are all kind of big things. And he said, well, yeah, Ani, known as Brenda. And it's like, well, wait a minute, who's Brenda? He said, oh, that's on her ID. So they were shocked to find out that this was her name, her actual name. So she's like, well, who have we actually been dating? Because we don't even know this person's real name. They were planning to propose and all of this. So then Ray responds, oh, this is really serious. I thought you guys were just having fun. And he said, well, did she tell you that she was married? He's like, well, yeah, she did tell us that. And he's saying, well, her divorce hasn't dissolved yet. So basically, she's not divorced. So they were going to try to break up their whole family. She was going to divorce her husband and add this woman to her family just to see that she's not even divorced yet from her past marriage. So Ray's like, she probably won't talk to me again, but I had to be honest, just this is the type of person I am. So Amani's on confrontation mode. She's now going to call Ani and say, hey, can you come meet us for dinner? Without her suspecting anything that this guy Ray is here. So when she arrives, look, surprise, it's Ray. And Amani says, hi, Brenda. A nice little jaw-dropping moment. My jaw wasn't dropped that much as I've seen this preview about a million times. And we know that we're going to find out that she's Brenda. But I guess next time we'll get all the explanations and all the tea about this situation scenario. So this is it. This is what our recap chat of 90 Day Fiance. Thoughts, comments, questions, you guys can always email me at cbiztv@yahoo.com. Check us out on our other platforms at cbiztvmedia.com. We'll talk again as we talk faith, love, and trends. All the best, and God bless.